Dear students, in the last discussion which we have ended last day, we have discussed about the clotting of blood by the blood platelets. We have discussed that very process in details. And so today let us start with summarizing the functions of blood, the various functions of blood. Let us say once more. First point regarding functions of blood is the transport of respiratory gases. Blood carries oxygen from the lungs to the tissues. It also carries carbon dioxide from the tissues to the lungs. So, this carrying of the various substances like oxygen and carbon dioxide is done mainly by blood. Next is transport of nutrients. Yes, many nutrients are there. These nutrients are absorbed in the small intestine. They enter the blood capillaries from there, and blood carries these nutrients and distributes them to all parts of the body. So in this way, nutrients are also carried and distributed uniformly throughout the body by blood. Third point, transport of waste products. Waste products of the body such as urea, uric acid, etc. These waste products are carried by blood to the excretory organs. Now, regulation of water content of cells. Blood regulates the water content of the cells. When the water content in cells increases, blood take up the excess amount of cellular water. Blood provides water to cell whenever the cells need it. Fifth point which we can discuss is regulation of body temperature, controlling our body temperature. Increased body temperature resulting from the excess respiration of a particular tissue is equalized by circulation of blood. So blood is then in this way controlling the body temperature also. Sixth point is the defense action against infection. Blood protects the body against various kinds of infection. Seventh point is prevention of bleeding. As we already discussed, clotting of blood, so that comes in the last point of functions of blood. Clotting of blood prevents excess bleeding. So, students, these are all very vital, very important functions that is played by our blood. Now comes the blood vessels. Yes, this we have discussed also last day little bit. Let us have a little bit of repetition, some revision of these blood vessels. There are three kinds of blood vessels, namely arteries, veins and capillaries, which are involved in blood circulation. They are all connected to form one continuous closed system. Previously we have only named those vessels, that is arteries, veins and capillaries, but today we will discuss one by one about the structure of these very vessels. Arteries are wide, elastic and thick-walled vessels as they carry blood away from the heart to the limbs and organs of the body. They have thick elastic walls to withstand the high pressure of the blood emerging from the heart. Veins, on the other hand, they brings back blood from the tissues and organs to the heart. That means arteries are carrying oxygenated blood, that is pure blood. Veins are carrying deoxygenated blood, that is impure blood. So the blood in veins flow under less pressure than that in arteries, because through arteries we are sending the blood throughout the body, and through veins the blood is only coming back. So veins do not have thick walls. Why? Because the pressure inside vein is lesser than that of the arteries. So the veins do not have thick walls. But veins can accommodate more blood. Veins have valves that allow blood to flow in one direction only. So we have discussed about arteries and we have discussed about veins. The third vessel that we are supposed to consider is capillary. Arteries branch out into smaller and thinner blood vessels called arterioles. These divide into still smaller vessels to provide blood to all the cells. The thinnest blood vessels are called capillaries. Their walls have just one layer of squamous cell. These walls are permeable so that water and other dissolved substances can pass in and out, thereby exchanging oxygen, carbon dioxide, dissolved nutrients and waste products with the tissues around the capillaries. The capillaries hence form a dense network reaching out to each and every part of the body. The flow of blood is very slow in capillaries. They join to form venules and veins, which in turn returns the blood from organs and tissues to the heart. So this is about the capillary. Now let us start discussing about the structure of human heart. The heart of human being is a muscular, conical and dark red organ that plays the role of a pump in the circulatory system. Its pumping action maintains the circulation of blood. In man, the heart weighs roughly about 0.43% of the body weight. It is located in the middle of the thoracic cavity, but its apex is tilted towards the left side. The heart is enclosed in a membrane, you can say, called pericardium. It is very tough, inflexible membrane. Between the heart and the pericardium, there is a fluid which reduces the friction produced during the heartbeat, because without any kind of fluid, without reducing the friction between the heart and pericardium, the friction can increase so much that the heart can burst also. But due to this presence of fluid, the friction is reduced remarkably, and so no harm takes place due to continuous contraction and relaxation of the heart. The heart is made up of cardiac muscles. Cardiac muscles are placed on the wall of the heart. These muscles contract with considerable amount of force, thereby squeezing the blood out into the arteries. The heart beats non-stop throughout our life. So, from this point of view, the cardiac muscles are really unique, because all other voluntary muscles, if you consider, like that of our leg or of our hand, they all get exhausted after performing some limited amount of work. After walking for a while, after carrying some heavy load, we feel too much tired. Our muscles becomes fatigue. But just think about the cardiac muscles, which is continuing its contraction and relaxation starting right from our birth, and if we live for about 70 to 80 years on an average, then it will continue this contraction and relaxation without minute pause also. So from that point of view, cardiac muscle is really unique one. Now, the heart beats then non-stop throughout one's life. It is due to this rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the heart muscles that the blood is getting pumped continuously and regularly. Now, there are 4 chambers in the heart. 2 atria with thin walls and 2 ventricles with thick wall. Now, this heart is then 4 chambered, which we have also discussed in our previous discussion, where we have compared the chambers of heart of human beings, and we also discussed the heart of some other animals. So here we are concerned only about human heart, so we are telling that it is 4 chambered. Now, next comes the working of the heart. Blood from different parts of the body comes to the right atrium when it expands. This impure blood is brought from the upper part of the body through the special vessel, special kind of tube called the superior vena cava. and from the lower part of the body by another blood vessel called the inferior vena cava. I know, student, you all are hearing these words for the first time. I will try to explain this once more when the school will reopen, but now you are hearing it for the first time, that I can understand. As the right atrium contracts, the blood goes to the right ventricle, which dilates, which increases in size. Now, the atrioventricular aperture is closed by a valve after the blood transfer. The valves prevent the backflow of blood when the atria or ventricles contract. When the right ventricle contracts, the blood is forced out to the lungs for oxygenation through the pulmonary artery, guarded by another valve. In the lungs, there is an exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. After the blood has received oxygen from the lungs and given off carbon dioxide, the oxygenated blood returns to the left atrium. Pulmonary veins bring this oxygenated blood from the lungs to the left atrium as it relaxes. When the left atrium contracts, blood is transferred to the left ventricle, which expands. The aperture between the left atrium and the left ventricle is guarded by a valve which is guarded by a valve. The wall of the left ventricle is 3 or 4 times thicker than the wall of the right ventricle. As it pumps blood to the body, so its walls are thicker. When the left ventricle contracts, the oxygen-rich blood is pumped into the aorta for circulation to different parts of the body. The opening of the aorta is also guarded by a valve. Deoxygenated blood is collected from different parts of the body by small veins. Now this opens into larger veins, which brings the blood back to the right atrium. Okay, so this is about the route, the very path through which the blood is circulating throughout our body, including our heart also. So, dear students, we have till up to now discussed about the structure of the heart. Today we have discussed about the functions of the blood. We explained about the structure in details of the 3 vessels of our circulatory system, that is arteries, veins and capillaries. We have discussed about the structures also, and we discussed about the inner structure, the inner chambers which human heart is having. So in all, we have completed this very discussion. Next day, we will discuss about cardiac cycle and something about blood pressure, and lastly we will go into the lymphatic system also. So till then, goodbye.